What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. In this video for the First Descendant today, we're going to be looking at a build for SHAREN, which is essentially what I use whenever I farm outposts in the game. Very long-ish time ago, I think at least almost 2 months ago, I made a video for what I would call a bargain bin version of this, which was something that I was using without spending too much upgrades and catalysts and things like that on SHAREN, and I just wanted something that was really good at just tackling these outposts and being very efficient at them. To date, SHAREN is the only Descendant that can play this sub game with outposts where you can hack the reactors and then basically kill a boss and then get additional patterns to drop that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. It's possible that we might get more Descendants down the line that can also do this, but at the very moment right now, she's the only one that can, and she presents an entirely different avenue of gearing that only she enables for your roster. So in the same way as getting Enzo allows you to essentially do caches in a much more efficient way, she is really good for this reason alone, and then for all the other reasons that you might still enjoy. So the build that we're going to look at today is specifically targeting being able to do these outposts with super ease, from like the easiest outposts to the most difficult ones, meaning 3 reactor to 4 reactor ones, with tough bosses, all of that stuff. Basically I combine this with a super slick sniper role as well, which basically allows you to one-tap most of these bosses or two-shot them, which helps a lot, because a lot of the time when you start an outpost and you kill the reactors and that final boss spawns, if you don't kill them fast, then you just get a whole bunch of ads and it's a mess and everything like that, and it just makes the whole process take longer. So what we want to do is we want to be efficient as possible, we want to make it as easy as possible for ourselves, and we want to kill these bosses as fast as possible so we can carry on with what we're doing. So we're going to focus first on exactly what we have in terms of like Descendant modules. So at the moment right now, there is not necessarily a good Transcendent mod for us to use specifically for this. You might be thinking Overcharged Edge is a good way to go, because what it does is it actually gives you a very powerful attack out of your cloak, but that happens to also actually make the cloak time shorter, so it ends up making outposts more difficult. Let me demonstrate what I mean by this quickly. So if we look at our active camouflage, you'll see that it has a duration of 10 seconds, which we then increase to be longer. When we put Overcharged Edge in, we'll see that now actually it has a duration of 5 seconds, and then you have to increase it. So effectively it's twice as hard for you to get as much duration out of it, and in this case we simply just don't have enough mods to do that. So instead of having a 20-second duration, we only have a 10. And the point is this, that in many cases, especially the last 3 zones of the game, you want to have as close to 15, about 16 seconds to be able to hit all 4 of the points that you need to hack. That's simply just something that you need. So in this case, we're not using any Transcendent mod, and we're just focusing on the other mods that we're going to use. Now, really the only thing that you care about is the maximum duration that you can get out of active camouflage, because the loop here, right, is that you essentially stand outside the outpost, and as soon as the outpost goes live, you engage cloak, you go in, you hack all of the terminals, and then you have enough time, in my case, to still take your sniper and then look where the boss spawns and shoot him in the head and basically get your loot. So you want to give yourself at least time enough to get all of those reactors, and sometimes the AI can be wonky and weird with you, and it can kind of like get in front of you or cover your route or something like that. It can be super frustrating. So giving yourself as much time as possible is very important. Now, the highest, at least that I've been able to get it, is 20.1 seconds. And that's through a combination of all of the mods that we're going to show it, as well as getting duration on your reactor. But this is very decent. We also get the cooldown way down to 6 seconds, and we just reduce the cost by just a smidge. But the main point here is that we have a very low cooldown that we can use all the time, and when we do use it, it lasts for very long. And then what we also do is we just give ourselves a little bit of additional damage, and we give ourselves some survivability, so that if your cover does get blown, or you do not kill the boss fast enough, that you can actually handle all of the gunfire that's going to come your way while you still kill that boss. It is super important to kill the boss as fast as possible, because as soon as you kill the boss, it despawns all the enemies and removes the danger from the outpost. So in this case, Let's focus on category by category. So first thing we can do to pretty much work on things like cooldown is something like nimble fingers, which gets our skill cooldown down. And then we can also use MP conversion. Same thing, reduces our skill cooldown. That's really good. Then to work on our duration, we've got a couple of options. Of course, skill extension, first choice right there, really good one. Maximize duration gives us also a huge amount of additional duration. But that being said, it gives us a small skill power modifier penalty here. But again, as I've mentioned, you'll notice we're not stacking for skill power. We don't care about that. Our cloak doesn't use skill power, and we're using our guns, our weapons to kill the enemy, so it don't matter. Then Battle of Stamina here also gives us a little bit of skill duration while also giving us some HP, so that's also fantastic. And then you'll notice basically the rest of these are just durability mods. They're just ways for us to take more damage. So increase shield, weighing the scales, which actually reduces our skill cost by a little bit but gives us more shield. We've got increased HP. We've got HP collector, which pretty much, you know, in a situation where things do go pear-shaped and you go loud inside an outpost, you can just spray like a bunch of fucking dudes and get like a bunch of HP from that. And then last but certainly not least, we're rounding out our damage with shot focus. This is something that I think was missing from our original build because I don't think I had the mod yet, but this gives us a little bit of additional firearm attack, again giving us a little bit of skill power modifier deficit there. Again, it doesn't matter, the point is we want our weapons to deal as much damage as possible. So this kit right here is going to make every outpost in the game child's play, and it's going to allow you to essentially use that as a great tooling, you know, alternative tooling to patterns for yourself to unlock more descendants, unlock, you know, weapon parts, you know, all of that stuff. So this is by far, you know, like an entire mini game on its own, and something that will change your ability to specifically target which weapons and descendants you're looking for, instead of having to always just do bosses and possibly struggling to find good groups or a decent enough build to be able to do it with. Now, this build, I'll be honest, is only as good as the weapons that you pair it with. So a very decent sniper, like for example the Afterglow, is really good here. I have a video specifically on the Afterglow, which is exactly this one that we're using here on the channel if you want to check it out. But I will just sort of flash the stats here. This one, of course, uses strength and first shot, which means what you can do to get a ridiculously strong shot off the rip is basically you cloak, and then right before you get that final reactor and the boss is going to spawn, you reload your weapon, or you get the last reactor and then the boss spawns, you reload your weapon and you snipe out of the cloak, and it's, you know, bye bye birdie. That being said, the rest of the stuff on here is fairly standard fare. I think for Afterglow, it produces a really strong Afterglow that basically just dumpsters any enemy, and this is kind of like what I use for all of the one hits. Then I tend to favor, just if I'm looking to just mess around, of course Thunder Cage is really good here as well because it does AoE and it's quite snappy. Recently I found a lot of love for Python, so here's just that build as well in case you want to give that a little whirl. And then of course we have Eternal Willpower, which I have a huge amount of love for as well, and this is also fairly decent. Got one or two more pieces left to do in this, and then I'll also bring this as a video to the channel. So if that's something that you're interested in, I really like this assault rifle. It's probably the only purple weapon that's worth putting a lot of effort into, but yeah, it's just really good. Then last but not least, let's just quickly talk Reactor and external components. In the case of the Reactor, again, the only thing that really matters is your substats, because you are not trying to use skill power or anything, so any skill power boost doesn't matter, non-attribute fusion, whatever, it doesn't matter. All right, the main thing that you're looking for is you're looking for good substats, and good substats for me here in this particular situation is duration up and cooldown. It means our cloak lasts longer, and it also means that our cloak is available more frequently. Now we couple that with the Annihilation set. You don't have to use the whole set, you only have to use 2 pieces, but what you want is you want the 2-piece bonus, the skill duration here, because that is how we get to above 20 seconds. That is the only way that I found to get above 20 seconds with the combination that I've been using. And so with this, with all of these pieces in, you're going to be looking at a nice 20 seconds, which is a super long duration. Most outposts you can hack in 14 to 15 seconds, which gives you a very comfortable 5 seconds to reposition, find the boss, and essentially, you know, ambush them. So again, like I said, you don't have to use 4 pieces Annihilation. I am, but that's because my Annihilation has good survivable stats on. I have all of the elements. I have defense, I have, you know, resistances, max HP and so on, but 2 pieces will suffice because you'll have the skill duration, and then for the other 2 pieces you can use anything else that basically gives you more survivability, or, you know, makes your weapons better, or anything like that. And that's gonna be it for the build. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. Let me know if you are still gaming around in the Outpost side of things. With the 400% infiltrations in, that is where a lot of people are spending like almost all of their time, and those patterns of course allow you to target bosses as void intercepts. So I kind of feel like Outposts aren't getting nearly as much love as they used to in the past, but this build right here will treat you good and will get you, you know, your foot on top of those Outposts like no mess, no fuss, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Other than that, it's just super important to me that you have a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Till next video, fucking cheers.